is Kelly Garney, childhood friend of Randy Rhoads and co-founder of Quiet Riot, and you are watching DC's Daily Dose of Rock Music History.
Hey guys, welcome back. I'm DC creator and host of Barside Jive and want to welcome you to my daily dose of rock music history. Today is Wednesday, March 25th, 2020. Welcome to my COVID-19 shelter in place extreme isolation tour, day number. Remember, you can check out my Daily Dose archives as well as all my other content on my YouTube channel. Just search Barside Jive Live. I am coming at you live from Vocal Studios in North Dallas. Now, what you say we talk some rock and roll? On this day, 1958 was the year Elvis Presley's ducktail hairstyle and famous sideburns are removed as he received the regulation short haircut from the U.S. Army. His barber was James Peterson. The King would never go back to wearing a DA. Fun fact, guys. The DA, or the ducktail, was a men's haircut style popular during the 1950s. It was also called the duck's tail, the duck's ass, duck's arse in the UK, or simply DA, and is also described as just your hair is just slicked back. The hair is like pomaded or greased, combed back around the sides and parted centrally down the back of the head. There you have it. Straight from DC. Okay. On this day in 1960, Ray Charles updates Hoagy Carmichael's Georgia on My Mind, a song that first became a number 10 hit for Frankie Trumbauer in 1931. Charles' version will become his fifth Billboard Pop Chart hit and his first number 1 the next November. Elvis Presley appears in concert at a benefit for the USS Arizona Memorial in Hawaii on this day in 1961. Following his 17-song set, the King would not play another live date for the next 8 years. On this day in 1963, Johnny Cash records one of his biggest pop hits, Ring of Fire, which will climb to number 17 on the Hot 100 and number 1 on the Billboard Country chart. The song was written by June Carter and Merle Kilgore and was originally recorded by June's sister, Anita Carter. When her version failed to become a hit, Johnny added the mariachi-style horns and changed a few of the words. 4 years later, Johnny and June were married. The Yardbirds released For Your Love on this day in 1965. The song will reach number 3 in the UK and number 6 in the US. Organist Brian Auger was hired to play keyboards on the track, but when he arrived at the recording studio, there was no organ or not even a piano. All that could be found was a 2-tiered harpsichord on which Auger improvised the now familiar intro. After the session, he wondered, who in their right mind is going to buy a pop single with harpsichord on it? Well, they did. And a lot. The Doors' debut album featuring Light My Fire enters the Billboard Hot 200 on this day in 1967. The LP had been released during the first week of January and would end up leading the chart for 3 weeks and topping the Cashbox bestsellers for a week. Also on this day in 1967, although they had cracked the top 40 on 3 previous occasions, the Turtles enjoyed their first and only Billboard #1 hit with Happy Together. It made number 12 in the UK. The song, written by Gary Bonner and Alan Gordon, 2 former members of a band called the Magicians, had been rejected a dozen times before it was offered to the Turtles. The Monkees' 58th and final TV episode was broadcast on this day in 1968, ending a 2-year run. The Fabricated Four would soon start to dissolve as Peter Tork left the group later that year, leaving just Mike Nesmith, Mickey Dolenz, and Davy Jones on the cover of the group's next album, Instant Replay. On this day in 1969, John Lennon and Yoko Ono began their 7-day bed-in to promote world peace at the Hilton Hotel in Amsterdam. 32-year-old Roy Orbison marries his second wife, 19-year-old Barbara Jacobs, in Hendersonville, Tennessee, on this day in 1969. Barbara would go on to manage Roy's career and, following his death in 1988, took charge of his business affairs. Sadly, she would die from pancreatic cancer at the age of 61 on December 6, 2011, 23 years to the day after her husband's death. On this day in 1971, New York radio station WNBC banned the song One Toke Over the Line by Brewer and Shipley because of its alleged drug references. Other stations around the country follow suit, but the record still makes it to the Billboard's number 10. On this day in 1972, the trio of Jerry Beckley, Dewey Bunnell, and Dan Peek, collectively known as America, reached the top spot on the Hot 100 and the Cashbox Bestsellers chart with A Horse with No Name. The tune, which reached number 3 in the UK, was originally titled Desert Song. Bet you didn't know that. Roberta Flack started a 5-week run at the top of the Billboard album chart with First Take, an LP that Atlantic Records would claim took just 10 hours to record. That happened on this day in 1972. Jackson Browne's wife, Phyllis Major, committed suicide on this day in 1976. Much of the music on Browne's album, The Pretender, displays the sense of despair at her death. The recording became the first of Browne's LPs to sell 1 million copies. After a decade of having only local success in the Michigan area, 33-year-old Bob Seger gets his big break. His 7th album, Night Moves, goes platinum on this day in 1977 on the strength of 3 top 40 hits: Night Moves, Main Street, and Rock and Roll Never Forgets. On this day in 1978, during a wave of nostalgia and oldies revival, Buddy Holly and the Crickets topped the UK album chart with 20 golden greats. Also on this day in 1978, a Philadelphia R&B disco group called the Tramps entered the Billboard Top 40 for the 3rd and final time with Disco Inferno, which will climb to number 11 during its 13-week stay. Motown Records celebrates its 25th anniversary with a concert in Pasadena on this day in 1983, featuring the Supremes, Stevie Wonder, The Temptations, The Four Tops, Martha Reeves, Junior Walker, The Commodores, Marvin Gaye, Smokey Robinson, and the Jackson 5. At the 57th Annual Academy Awards on this day in 1985, Prince wins the Best Original Song Score Oscar for Purple Rain, And Stevie Wonder is awarded Best Original Song for I Just Called to Say I Love You. On this day in 1989, fire destroyed a recording studio on Chuck Berry's farm at Wentzville, Missouri. Among the items lost was a tape containing 13 unreleased Berry songs. Motley Crue drummer Tommy Lee is arrested for allegedly exposing his buttocks during a concert in Augusta, Georgia on this day in 1990. Former Bay City Rollers drummer Derek Longmire was sentenced to 300 hours of community service after admitting to possessing child pornography on this day in 2000. Despite his guilty plea, he maintained that the offending materials did not belong to him. He was subsequently fired from his job as a nurse at the Edinburgh Royal Infirmary, but later was reinstated. On this day in 2001, Bob Dylan wins the Best Original Song Oscar for Things Have Changed from the movie Wonder Boys. Ozzy Osbourne and his wife Sharon were forced to flee their Buckinghamshire mansion after a fire broke out as they slept on this day in 2005. On this day in 2009, Dan Seals of the 1970s duo England Dan and John Ford Coley died of cancer at the age of 61. After scoring several Billboard pop chart hits, including I'd Really Love to See You Tonight, Nights Are Forever, and Love Is the Answer, Seals went on to have a solid career in country music during the 1980s and early 90s. Soul legend Bobby Womack was diagnosed with colon cancer on this day in 2012. Womack canceled a live appearance in Houston, Texas earlier in the month after he experienced severe shortness of breath. He would pass away on June 27, 2014, at the age of 70. Dionne Warwick's attorney confirmed on this day in 2013 that the singer had filed for bankruptcy over a tax debt dating back almost 20 years. In 2012, she appeared on a list of the top 500 people owing the most in unpaid taxes in the state of California. Her legal team insisted that Ms. Warwick was the innocent victim of terrible mismanagement. On this day in 2015, Ringo Starr told Rolling Stone magazine that the Beatles would have gotten back together at some point if John Lennon and George Harrison had lived. Ringo said, "We still had the songs and we still could play. We could have put it together. Of course, it's ended now. John and George are both gone." Also on this day in 2015, Boy George was the guest judge on TV's American Idol, where he joined the remaining 11 contestants in singing his 1983 number one hit, Karma Chameleon. And the Rolling Stones made a historic appearance in Havana, Cuba, in front of an estimated crowd of 450,000 people on this day in 2016. Rock and roll music was outlawed in Cuba shortly after Fidel Castro rose to power in 1959 and was reinstated in 2000. Well, that, guys, is rock and roll and wraps my rock history lesson today. But you can wipe away those tears because there's more coming from me to you tomorrow and every day as I peel back those pages of my big-ass book of rock music history and explore the past of the rock legends on my Daily Dose of Rock Music. You can catch up on all my Daily Dose episodes as well as all my content on YouTube. Easy to find. Just search Barside Jive Live. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Barside Jive. Thanks for hanging out with me today during my Daily Dose. Please seek every day to be a hero in someone's life. See you soon. Probably tomorrow. All right, guys. Peace, love, and rock and roll. All right, Boner.
Have mercy.
Good night, Bill.
BarsideJiveLive.com.
That's BarsideJiveLive.com.
The zoo gives you rock for the senses.